guys, so in honor of the fact that I found out that they're gonna bring Monel's bitch ass back for season 6 finale of Supergirl, I decided to make kind of a rant video about this shitty ass character, or more specifically the shitty ass couple that is Karamel. Yeah. So, I decided to just look up a 50 reasons to ship Karamel and Monel video, and there are obviously not very many because I can only find like one. Yeah, I'm probably not even going to show the video. I'm just going to talk, look at the reasons and just say them, and then, give my thoughts on those reasons. Mostly because, I don't want to get copyrights striked or anything for this crappy ship. Yeah, I'm probably also going to do another video with Supercorp to kind of compare the two maybe and just show my love for Supercorp. So, yeah, honestly, I think that's it for now. So, yeah, I'm just gonna show the, I'm not gonna play any of the video, to be honest, for the first one. So, oh god, this is gonna be an unbearable 7 minutes. Oh god, use that same song. So, she was the one that found him. Yeah, and the thing is that after she found him, when he finally woke up, he tried to beat the shit out of her, and he got his ass whooped by her, but of course in the process he ended up injuring someone else. And of course they're both refugees. He's a refugee from, it turns out, a slave planet, and they both hate each other. Understandable why she would hate his bitch ass. He was a slave owning prince, and yeah, the fact that I'm sure they'll gloss over that to try to romanticize it. And he was never there for her. The fact he says the way she kicked his ass. Yes, the way she kicked his ass, which she realized he did that throughout the entire series. Not exactly the best start, best indicator of a relationship. She believes he could make a difference. She believed, yes. But he didn't want to fucking make a difference. He wanted to sit on his ass and get everything handed to him because he was the spoiled prince of Daxam. And, yeah, he treated her like shit the entire second season. And the third season came along when he's supposed to be the hero and continued to be the asshole who did whatever the fuck he wants, disregarded everything she asks. The way they're messing around, so literally him being condescending dickhead, it was just them messing around. She had so many great points with him. He was just a spoiled asshole, and every time she pointed out valid flaws of his, he literally just dismissed it and mocked her. Planet of snobs. He literally came from a slave planet where he owned slaves because he was the Prince of Daxam, and he calls her snobs because I guess they didn't like slave owners. He knows when she's lying. Just for reference, she talks about how she, never used her powers. And I'm sure she never knew she knew exactly when he was a lying sack of shit, but he always gaslit her into doing whatever the fuck he wanted. He brought stuffing. So yeah, this is in reference to when he brings actual fucking pillow stuffing to Thanksgiving. This is just another trend with this shitty character of using, just misunderstandings to try to fucking make him seem charming. But then you realize that he also, continually says the most misogynistic bullshit throughout the entire series, and they always just try to push it off as him misunderstanding Earth cultures. Like when he referenced, when he talks about how, what do you call women on this planet? Dogs, obviously referring to bitches. So yeah, it's just continually being a misogynistic pig, and trying to pass it off as just him not understanding Earth culture. It's just another instance of if you don't know about this character, he was created by this dude, Andrew Kronberg, I think that's his name, who was 19 women came forward about him sexually assaulting them, or I believe like using his powers to try to get sexual favor, something along those lines. And a lot of the stuff that a lot of the stuff that women came out about, it's eerily similar to the way this character acts. So I think there's one part where he referred the sexual harasser, sexual predator, if you will, refers to women as dogs. And so we literally had this character referring to women as bitches. And yeah, this pretty much is the epitome of this character in this show. She was jealous, so once again, referring to when he fucks Eve. And yeah, I have a problem with this because he, implies that because he, Eve ends up doing something nice for him, and he implies that because she did something nice to him, so she wanted to sleep with him. So there is that fucking issue. Yeah, why is she jealous? She doesn't like his bitch ass. Except for when he's fucking manipulating asshole. Whenever she tries to get away from him, he'll fucking manipulate and gaslight her into trying to get her to come back to him. He'll do the pouty, little, he'll sit there and sulk and pout and make her feel guilty for rejecting him. They fight like a married couple. Yeah, if you call him literally dismissing everything she ever asked him to do. Simplest thing. In particular, when she asked him to keep the relationship a secret. And this bitch ass couldn't wait an entire scene before he literally reveals to everyone at her work that they're in a relationship, and they eventually get sent to fucking human resources, which, oddly enough, that usually that only happens if you're literally just, I'm assuming, co-workers. So the fact that apparently CEO, or whatever the fuck they were called, to be honest, I can't even honestly remember. The fact that they even allowed this piece of trash to fucking work for them just shows how incompetent of an organization they are. Yeah, it's funny because she keeps saying I'm a Dexamite. Yeah, you are, you motherfucker. You don't do anything. You're a slave owning sack of shit who, benefited from slavery, the suffering of people the entire fucking life. Then you come to Earth and, suddenly you don't expect everything to be you expect you to get everything. And when she actually calls out flaws, you just gaslight her into doing whatever you fucking want her to do. This is the entire second season when he's supposed to be this big ass hero. And when this third season comes along, he doesn't actually fucking acknowledge that he was wrong. He just pretended everything was fine until she finally called his ass out. Then he's like, oh, you're right. And then continue to try to get in her pants. He believes she's doing the right thing, and yet, if I recall correctly, he literally claims that she always gets into trouble when, we're referencing her being a superhero. So obviously he doesn't like that she fucking does the right thing. Sorry. This instance where he's talking about, he's telling her to go publish her article about, I believe it was letting everybody know that Lex Luthor or Katniss was going to try to target aliens, and so she was going to publish the article to get it, make aliens aware. But what is his name? Snapper. He didn't want her to do that. Well, she actually goes to Lena first, and Lena encouraged her to go fucking do it. And then she goes to his bitch ass, then he encourages to do it. Of course, they use that as evidence that he's just this good guy, because he tells her to go do something. Yeah, that's real supportive, huh? Ah, yes, he thinks she looks beautiful. Yeah, that's right after he fucking kisses her, and he later gaslights her into fucking starting to date him, because he's like, You didn't want to be with me because I'm a Daxamite. He always brings that up, the fact he's a Daxamite. Yeah, bitch-ass motherfucker, you're the Prince of Daxam who, you know, was a slave owner. And if you don't fucking show you fucking changed, why the fuck shouldn't she call you out? Yeah, he always does the whole gaslighting shit. And, you know, he does all the nice shit, says all the nice things, and then when she asks for the simplest shit, he turns around and fucking just dismisses her. And anytime she fucking criticizes him or points out any of his rightful flaws, he will automatically attack her in return. Because he can't fucking, you know, acknowledge that he does anything wrong. She can't stand seeing him hurt. Yes, it's interesting because she's naturally a good person who would be worried about pretty much anyone who's being hurt. The fact is that given the chance, he never fucking protected her. When, you know, when they went to the slave planet, she was being fucking, you know, getting the shit beaten out of her. He didn't say shit because he knew that if he said anything, she would recognize that he was, you know, someone important, because the slave owners, you know, the slave traders, I think that's what they were, would recognize him and obey him. So he literally lied or didn't say shit because he thought it might reveal who he really was. Yeah, he worries about her, except when he literally has the chance to fucking do something and doesn't. Wish that fucker would just die. It would save people so much trouble. Yeah, he encourages her. Yeah, he really encouraged her in the entire series, didn't he? When he constantly implied that her being a hero was somehow a fucking burden, that there was something wrong with it, that, you know, she might be in danger sometimes, so, it, you know, it's her fault for getting in trouble. Yeah, he wants to be a superhero, except when it involves being a superhero, then he doesn't give a shit. You know, at the end of the series, he actually gets a chance to be a superhero, but he tries to push it off on someone else until Kara, you know, refuses. And that's when he begrudgingly goes along with it, and even then does shit all to be a hero. If I recall correctly, his line is, you know, the only reason I do anything good is because of, you know, because you're there. Something along those lines. So he literally only does anything good is because of Kara. Yeah, so this is another one. He says he wants to run away with her. He literally wants to abandon Earth to his fucking mother to run away with Kara. He expects Kara to just run away with him to be happily ever after, but considering how this is, you know, this slave-owning sack of shit who's always just ran from everything, it's not exactly that big of a surprise. But people, you know, Karamel shippers and Monel defenders, they'll say that, they'll use it as a positive. They'll try to claim he's a hero, but then whenever he fucking tries to run with any responsibility, then they'll fucking ignore it. They'll try to spin it as a positive. Which is ironic considering how third season she outright admits that he was a piece of trash to her during the relationship. That she romanticized the relationship. So you know everything that she's saying, all these good things, she romanticized everything he did. Yeah, he would go to Daxam to be the prince. I know that will be a burden on him, right? Since he was always fucking, you know, so sad for being the Prince of Daxam, right? They were both devastated when they broke up. Yeah, he was devastated, right? He acted like a pouty little bitch, you know, and fucking tried to guilt Kara into getting back with him. Yeah, then they do this whole stupid ass episode in which he literally kidnaps her after she tells him to leave her the fuck alone, and then gives her this fucking kiss. So yeah, that was not fucking disturbing at all. Yeah, he was there to catch her and then take her to another planet and then kiss her, despite the fact she wanted him to stay the fuck away from her. But he's always been a manipulated sack of shit. Yeah, the whole she's with me bullshit, obviously he's a possessive asshole. The fact that he tries to literally murder Mixie and then like act like he's a good guy. He's just this possessive asshole. He gets so goddamn offended, if I recall correctly, because Mixie might give Kara the things he couldn't. So he was literally willing to kill Mixie just because I guess it's like an ego thing. Oh, well, you can give her more than I could, so I'm gonna fucking kill you. Of course, he ultimately ends up stealing shit from the DEO to try to kill him. And of course, Mixie almost kills his ass, and Supergirl has to save her. He doesn't trust her as a superhero. When Kara tells him, hey, I can do this, let me do this, he doesn't believe her because he thinks his useless ass can do better than her. She encouraged him to be a hero, sure. She has to tell him to be a hero all the fucking time because he doesn't give a shit. Yeah, so, yeah, we got that whole bullshit, and then he ultimately ends up marrying another woman in the future, claims that he fell in love with her in the future before literally dumping this woman to chase after Kara, who admits that he was a piece of shit to her during the relationship, and yet he still tries to get into her pants. So he's not, he's not changed at all. He's just a manipulative asshole who fucking does says whatever he needs to get what he wants. Yeah, that's another pissing me off. She gave him her mother's necklace, and ultimately he didn't give it back to her. And once he came back from the future, obviously he didn't think he was a bad guy in the past, did he? And he sure wouldn't give her back to. He certainly wouldn't give her mother's necklace back because he realized what a piece of trash he was, would he? Yeah, I hope the fucker dies eventually. He's coming back season finale, so hopefully he dies again since that seems to be the trend. But I'm not going to get my hopes up, so yeah. So that was 50 reasons to ship fucking Karamel, and the fact is they never fucking acknowledge that he's a toxic piece of trash. They won't acknowledge all the instances in which he fucking continually belittled her. Then it comes to the part where he calls women a bitch when he says that it was easier when I was able to objectify women on Daxam, when he literally tries to get Kara's cousin Superman to fight his mother for him instead of his bitch ass going and fighting his mother. They include that instance where, oh well, he saved her, he sacrificed himself. Sacrifice meaning going back to Daxam and being the person he was before. The one where he said it was easier when he objectified women. So apparently that was sacrificing himself. But him saying Supergirl to get Superman to go fight his mother for him while he and Kara run off into the future or into the to another planet. That really showed what a changed person he was, wasn't it? Didn't it? Yeah, and of course this is obviously after season 2. It doesn't get to season 3, but I know there are plenty of Karamel shippers and Mon-El stans who constantly fucking ignored all the fucking shit he did. Who continued to justify it by saying, oh, he was abused. He wasn't. He was literally, a slave owner. And he continued to benefit from the suffering of his people. It talks about how his people were drugged, the subjects were drugged to essentially make them complacent so that his parents and him could continue to, keep them enslaved. And of course people talk about how, well, he was also drugged. No, he chose to do the drugs. Doesn't make him a fucking, a victim. And even if it did, the fact that these people still won't acknowledge that he was a piece of trash during season 2 and will turn around and claim that he's a hero after season 2, only to turn around and claim that he's a hero in season 3 when he comes back. And they'll say that, oh, well, I know there was this pair of girls that were like, oh, well, he acknowledges that he was a piece of trash after she literally calls him out. He never did it before because obviously he either one he either one knew he's a piece of trash but didn't want to admit it because he didn't want to fucking, increase the possibility of not getting in Kara's pants. Or 2, didn't give a shit or didn't believe it, but once Kara brought it up, he automatically did the whole fucking usual in being a, manipulating asshole and saying, oh, well, I did wrong. So he constantly just does and says anything he needs to get what he wants. And then if anybody ever tries to contradict him, then he'll fucking snap and start fucking, projecting onto you. So yeah, he's just this asshole. He treats Carl like utter trash. I believe Carl, at one time loved him because that's ultimately the kind of person she is. She cares about people. And she believes the best. When she mistakenly believes that he's the one going around attacking people with, like fire powers. Once she realizes she's wrong, she goes to him and apologizes for, assuming that he was the one doing it. But then later, when she rightfully calls him out for being a slave owner, he lies to her, or he lied to her for like a while because, he was actually the slave prince of Daxon. But he lied to her constantly. And kind of played up the prince of being this great guy, knowing full well that he was a slave prince of Daxon. So he literally lying to him and playing himself up because he fucking wanted to get in Kara's pants. And once she realized that he was a lying sack of shit, he constantly fucking just gaslit her to fucking get her to stay with him. And just, God, this character is such a piece of trash. And the fucking fact that they're once again bringing this piece of shit character back. And if it's not obvious how much he's disliked, the fandom actually got No More Monel trending on Twitter, which I thought was hysterical. So yeah, fingers crossed that they kill his bitch ass off one last time. God, I hate this character so much. So yeah, let's just go back and just go watch a video about Supercorp, one that's not a piece of fucking trash shit. There are a few reasons to ship Supercorp videos out there, so I don't know. I don't know if I have a particular favorite, and I just don't want to bother searching to see if I favorited any of them, but I just decided to get the first one that appears. So it's actually 100 reasons to ship Supercorp, so it's longer. It's about 20 minutes, so let's just get right on into it. This one, I'm not sure if I'll include any moments. We'll see. I might just do the same thing like I did in another video and just give the reasons and then give my opinion. So let's get started.
And who are you exactly?
Yeah, this is so funny. Their first meeting. The first meeting, Kara looks at Lena. It's just so funny. I don't know if I started shipping him that moment when they looked at each other, or after shipping him I go back and realize that Kara has this like starstruck face whenever she looked at Lena. And Kara understands Lena. Yeah, she understands that Lena is trying to make a name for herself outside her family, just like Kara is trying to make her name outside of her cousin. So I think that's a moment when Lena there's this connection of mutual understanding.
But first you have to tell me who you are.
Yeah, that's gonna...
Gosh, hi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She does
Kara.
act exactly like, with Lena, like she does with James the first season. This like kind of stuttering, starstruck. I don't know why, but Melissa seems to react the same way with Lena, or act the same way with Lena that she does with James. I don't know why she did that. I don't know if it was just, the natural chemistry between the two actresses. If it could just be the way that it was edited, but it was just so weird. And, you know, you can't blame people for shipping these two because they acted exactly like, she acted just like with James and she did with Nina. Another interesting point, she never acted this way with Mon-El. She was never this giggly and, you know, starstruck and everything like that. It was always just, it always felt like he was just, you know, he wanted something and then he would gaslight her into get, you know, giving him what she wanted, what he wanted. There was no, like, romance between them. There was no, she was crushing on him or shit like that. Yes, and this is the whole lip biting incident in which literally no reason for them, and yet Lena starts lip biting, and then Kara like does the same thing, and then of course Mon-El's bitch ass has to fucking interfere and shoehorn his way into everything like he always does. Yeah, it always seems like anytime that Lena or Supergirl is around Lena and she's talking to a dude, Supergirl always seems to have this like pissed off look on her face. It's almost as if she's jealous. And also, there's a fact that people like to joke about how Lena builds Supergirl a balcony. A balcony for Supergirl. I wouldn't be surprised if the show ultimately ended up building it so that they could have Supergirl land somewhere to get in there, but it just implies that Lena built this balcony for Supergirl.
Thank you. Who would have believed it? Luther and a super working together. I hope we can work together more in the future. Me too.
Yeah, it's funny because they say a Luther and a super. I'm fairly certain that after this, they did try to do the whole bullshit thing about, well, was it a Kryptonian and a Daxamite? Yeah, they try to hijack that. Except, you know, Daxamite was a slave-owning sack of shit who manipulated, you know, the Kryptonian, who tried to act superior to the Kryptonian because Kryptonians were slave-owning assholes. Whereas actually we get like Lena Luthor, who, despite her family name, is actually a good person. You know, this is more like, not like rivals, but two people from fighting families that fall in love.
Well, the Luthers have never shied away from doing awful things.
Yeah, but she's not like them.
What's something else that pisses me off so much is how they're all so willing to accept the slave-owning sack of shit. Especially like characters like James, who's literally black, and John, also black. They were so quick to fucking accept that sack of shit. But Lena, well, no, Lena, well, she's a Luthor, and she has to fucking go through hell and back to prove herself. But I also kind of find it funny because she talks about how, no, I looked into Lena's eyes, and then it pans to, like, Eliza. With this, like, you know, it's, you know, look on her face, and it always feels like, you know, uh-oh, kind of look.
She is cold and dangerous, and you...
See, here's the thing. This whole be your own hero thing, this is the difference between Kara and Lena relationship and Kara and Mon-El's. Lena was always the hero. She was always trying to be the hero. All Kara did was continue to encourage her to be that hero. Mon-El was a sack of shit. He was selfish as hell. And she, you know, Kara tried to act, you know, make him into his pet project. You know, I always felt like originally, well, I don't know. It turns out that the creator of this character was a sexual predator, so I can even say that. Maybe the writers tried to make him more of like a, kind of a mentee to Kara, maybe more of like a familiar relationship, not romantic, but then they suddenly decide, hey, we're gonna have these two be in a fucking romantic relationship, and ultimately just goes downhill from there. But yeah, it's just so, the thing between Kara and Lena's relationship and Kara and Mon-El's. It's just like a good indicator of a toxic relationship versus a healthy relationship. Lena puts her own mother in jail. She certainly did more than fucking Mon-El did. Mon-El didn't do fuck all. You know the thing that pissed me off about that character? At the very end, you know, the finale of season 2, he could have tried to actually face his mother, you know, confront her. But it ultimately ended up being Kara that faced his mother. But here's the thing, I know there will be people who talk about, well, Kara, the hero and all this shit. But the fact is that spent the entirety of the goddamn season trying to make Kara into this, like, mother figure who had to teach Mon-El how to be a goddamn hero. So that by the end of the season, they didn't even fucking have, you know, any goddamn conclusion to that goddamn shitty arc. They just had him hijack her scenes the entire season. And then when they got the chance to actually bring that to fruition, to make that have a goddamn purpose, they just, you know, have Kara do it and just makes him look like a coward who let his girlfriend face his mother for him. Whereas we get Lena, who actually is able to put her mother away. And this is when I fell in love with Lena.
Well, the Luthers have never shied away from doing awful things.
Yeah, but
The fact she's always been defending her against people like James, which pisses me off to no end when they put James and Lena together.
It's not what our husband sent you here to
Such bullshit.
No, I think it would be better if you waited outside while I talked with the
Oh,
Caesar.
so cute.
I want her to stay. It's okay.
Something to prove her innocent.
Everything we've seen.
God,
so far
I fucking
says
hate
the
this
exact
goddamn
opposite.
show so much. The fact that they constantly had
Well,
the
she's my
fucking,
friend.
you know, Lena, Kara's
And I
friends
believe it.
constantly question Lena's goodness. And yet they fucking accept other shitty ass characters without a second thought. It's funny because they don't ever question Wen. They were all too quick to defend Wen and then comfort him when, you know, he started doubting whether he'd be like his, you know, murdering father. Same with Morgan. John was so quick to fucking, oh well, not quick, but he ultimately forgave her for being a white Martian. But they're always so willing to give Lena shit, despite the fact that she's constantly showing herself to be a good person. Just another instance of the show treating Kara like a punching bag. They needed some character to treat like shit, constantly fucking attack and victimize, and it was Lena.
Okay, I know she's your friend, Kara, but Lena's bad news.
Why? Because she's a Luther?
No, because she's guilty. And if you don't see that, I'm gonna prove it to you.
It always pissing me off because entire second season, James just shit on Lena constantly. And then season 3 comes around and suddenly he wants to fucking get with her. And the fact that he literally demonized her the entire second season, apparently that just went out the window, I guess.
Try more of these toys.
Don't hurt her.
Sorry.
The fact that she's done more than Mon-El ever did when Kara was in trouble.
No.
See? Exactly. Mon-El did. The shade. Literally pointing out how Mon-El didn't do fuck all despite the fact he could, but Lena, despite having, you know, being restrained, tried to fucking save Lena, or tried to protect Kara.
So my office is over.
Once again, it's interesting because I believe that Kara brings Mon-El flowers one time. Of course, they, you know, they have him throw it into the trash, obviously for shit and giggles. But Lena sends Kara flowers. But I also believe that Kara sends Lena flowers. The fact that when Mon-El did it, it was supposed to be romantic and indicate romantic interest. But whenever Lena and Kara did it for each other, oh, they were good friends. The stereotypical bullshit trope.
Well, Supercorp will save me, but...
Yeah, that's another thing. You know, she talks about how, you know, Supergirl may save me, but Kara Diaries, you're my hero. Yeah, it always felt like Lena cared more about Kara than she did Supergirl, and you can tell that because she would have a kind of confrontational relationship, professional, if you will, relationship with Supergirl, whereas with Kara, it was always more friendly. You know, she actually loved Kara. So it was an interesting dynamic. Whereas with Mon-El, it always felt like it was more about, oh, I'm in a relationship with Supergirl, the hero. You know, it was not about Kara. It was about him, you know, owning Supergirl. Him trying to make others jealous by being with Supergirl. And that's not something I made up. He literally says that. You know, she tells him to keep the relationship secret, and he can't do that for more than 2 seconds. And makes a comment about how, you know, hey, me and Supergirl, we're dating, and yes, you have a right to be jealous. You know, so yeah, it's obviously he only give a shit about superhero.
Excuse me. Lena, she said with surprise in her voice for some reason.
Oh my god.
So obviously this indicates that they've had multiple meetings before where they actually have dates, if you will, outside of work.
System override.
Just another instance of them choosing each other over other people. Which, funnily enough, she doesn't do the same with Mon-El. There are multiple times throughout the series that she has a chance to save Mon-El. She ultimately lets him go while refusing to let Lena go.
Mon-El would have to leave Earth. Did you know he was dating Kara Danvers?
What was it, that question? The only reason she'd ask that, really, is if she was either jealous or just upset that Kara didn't tell her about the shithead. The fact that she, you know, eradicates Mara fled, knowing that bitch ass would die, and yet, ultimately, she couldn't let Lena die. Yeah, so many Clark and Lois parallels. It's upsetting. Ah, my Korosami feels. Such a cutie. So yeah, that was my reaction to this Supercorp video. I'll just link down to both videos in the comments down below so that you can go, if I don't end up posting all of it or any of it, you can just go and read along with it or watch along with it so that you know where I'm at, and you can, you know, make your own opinions and everything. So, yeah, obviously you know my thoughts on both the ship. Karamel is a sack of shit that can burn in hell forever, and Supercorp it's like, you know, it's like one of the sweetest kind of romances. Because, yes, I do think it's a romance. I know that fucking show, like, pretend it's not, but they're fucking hardcore queer baiting the shit out of this. They know people ship him, and yet that they keep, you know, acting like they're a fucking couple. They keep writing them as a couple. They act like a couple, so I'm gonna call them a couple because they are. Because the show fucking wants, you know, that's how they write them, so. This is obviously going to be a long rant video, but why not? It's probably going to be one of those videos that I make just to I think it's one of the only movies I'm going to make about like Karamel and all that, so why not just make it a long rant video? So, yeah, so. So that's the kind of video for today. So if you do like this video, give it a like, subscribe, get notifications for all the different videos I'll be doing, and you guys have a nice night. Stay safe out there, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.